So food is one of my favorite facets to explore in fantasy and games. There's something about cooking in a game that's so satisfying and mouth-watering. The fantasy of cooking is a potent one. Anything from a simple rustic meal on the road to a luxurious medieval feast to eating a dragon. Fantasy food just has that kick that real food can kind of be lacking in. Maybe it's because of the lovely renderings of delicious dishes that can be pulled right from a commercial. Or maybe I'm just hungry. But if a game has a recipe book, you can be sure that I'll be filling it. Food is super important in many ways. I mean, we need it to live. Can't get more important than that. But food is many other things too. Connection, culture, activity. Sitting around to enjoy your meal is part of the human experience. And it's one that I love to see reflected in games, alongside petting dogs and sitting in chairs. But from my experience in D&D, the food can be kind of boring. In playing Dungeon of the Mad Mage, food has almost no part in the culture. You do your dungeoneering, eat your rations, long rest. And then, once you make your way to Skullport, a place where you should finally be able to find some real food, and there's no food. The whole town has 3 drink options, all of them wormwoods, and 4 food options. And none of them have any appeal. The drinks are all effectively the same, and the dishes are very underdark. My DM is definitely taking pity on us as we eat our sad little rations in our sad little rooms. And this is sad. Food is a massive part of culture, and seeing yourself in the fantasy world through this lens does wonders for immersion. Perhaps it is the modern life that has me spoiled. You can walk into a real restaurant and have pages upon pages of menus. Walking into the nearest bottle-o has you reeling from the amount of choice. But something doesn't need to be extra to be good. My DM does great tavern food. Each tavern in each town has something interesting to offer. Rustic places have stews, soups, porridge, and let you roll for bread. And fancy places have finer cuts of meat, fruit, and sides. Not to mention that its locality is taken into account. A seaside town offers fish, a town in the snow has hearty, warm dishes. It's so good. The roleplay opportunities that arise from the simple question, and what would you like to eat, makes my heart sing. And if anything, what my DM does only makes me want more. And so, today on Worldbuilder Chronicles, let's build a menu. Setting is a vital part in choosing your foods. So, to start off, let me tell you a little bit about the world. We stand in a little tavern on the seaside, located in the beating heart of Port Narlum, a seaside trade town located on the baby continent of Emera. This little place is one that I'm currently building up for a homebrew D&D campaign, with one of its major components being its food and the culture surrounding it. So here it is, the Salty Sea Dog. This tavern sits on the water's edge, overlooking the trade port. It's a lovely, rustic-style tavern inn, cozy and homey and run by a local half-orc, Urak, and his 17 dogs. The locale is an important part of choosing what sorts of foods and drinks are available on the menu. Port Narlum is, well, a port. The sea brings many things: fresh seafood, sea vegetables, trade products, and the culture of the town leads to many townsfolk having small planters in their homes, so small amounts of fresh produce are available too. The culture of Emera also leads itself to a foraging and hunting lifestyle, so wild produce and game aren't out of the question either. And whilst Emera is a very lush continent, it struggles to grow grain products, and thus many are important and thus more expensive. And as well, take into consideration the price point and the vibe too. The Sea Dog is a rustic and homey style tavern. Lots of lovely wooden furnishing. It's fairly popular with sailors and is quite cheap. And since everything about Emera is traded and imported, including the people, it's a fusion menu. And of course, remember to give it story. Each piece of food comes from somewhere. It's made by people for people. The food doesn't just pop into existence once it's ordered. You don't have to go crazy thinking about each individual farm, distillery, and chef. But a simple thought on the availability and seasonality of produce can go a long way in making your food feel more real. So, let's write down our menu. As an exercise, it's a good idea to test the robustness of your food culture. One way to do this is pretty simple. Make a dish for each of the following categories: breakfast, fish, meat, poultry, vegetarian, and dessert. If you can apply the local produce, imported produce, and the culture to this framework, you can easily make sure that your menus are different, even within these same parameters. So let's get to it. As our breakfast option, let's go with a honey and fruit preserve porridge. Since all the products keep well, getting them down the road isn't as much of a hassle compared to importing fresh produce. Whilst Emerald doesn't grow oats well, they are a common export, and the honey and preserve are wild and local enough to stay cheap. For fish, and for something a bit more local, we have whole roast fish, catch of the day style. Since Port Nalam is a port, it makes sense to have fresh fish on the menu. Roast it up with some lemon and herbs and there's your meal. Next up is meat, and for that, some orcs stew. Since meat is harder to come by in these parts, let's stick with some cheaper cuts to mediate the transport cost. Better used for stew purposes anyway. Take some wild mushrooms, local grown tomatoes from the neighbours, and some potato bread to sop it up for the perfect hearty dish. For poultry, we should also take from the sky too. Seabirds are plenty here, technically game, and certainly edible too. Roast one up and serve with a wild veg roast. Chuck in some potatoes, turnips, onions, carrots, and whatever else, and here's your dish. And for the vegetarian option, let's combine some sea produce and that of the land. A clear broth soup with kelp noodles and potato dumplings should do the trick. Traditional noodles aren't a mainstay in Emira due to the aforementioned grain issue, so substituting kelp for that chew ain't half bad. Next up is alcohol. Since this is a tavern, it's pretty important for the atmosphere. We should start with something popular, an easy drink and a quick sell. So, for that, let's say that the main seller is called Ocean's Ale, a cheap and weak brew made in the port and guzzled by sailors. It has a simple but slightly salty taste. I'd say that whilst this drink is popular with the locals and the sailors, let's also get something that our PCs might enjoy. But since this is the first tavern, let's give the PCs something more simple to latch onto. Let's say Green's Ale, a homey-style dark ale. I'd say that this one is an imported product, taken fresh off the ships and into the tavern. And since it's more of a real-world style beverage, it can help to ease the distance of fantasy foods from real foods. And speaking of fantasy foods, next up, let's get slightly more wacky. No tavern is complete without some weirdo top-shelf stuff. And in this case, let's go with Fairy Dew, a very, very strong apple gin. Whilst this stuff looks like water, please don't mistake it. Even the strongest dwarves could get it going with a whiff of the stuff. Best served on the rocks. You know why you're here. I really like making drinks, so I'd say my tip for making a bunch of them is just to start off by Googling a list. There are many, many types of drink out there. Choose a couple you like the sound of, twist it a little, and you'll have a list of every drink under the homebrewed sun in no time. And since this place offers food, let's at least give them a non-alcoholic drink too. You adventurers surely can't be boozing all the time, so let's give them a spot of tea. It's wild tea, never quite the same blend. We gotta give the local foragers some love too now. Lastly, let's write up our dessert. Probably something simple and off-menu, but Gurak is a nice enough guy, so let's say it's on the house. Something local and simple, probably made largely from ingredients already used in other dishes. A wild fruit crumble sounds good, doesn't it? Take some oats, butter, local fruit, and that wild honey, and there you go. And lastly, let's chuck on some pricing, just for fun. It's a typically cheap menu, so let's keep the prices low here. And done. Here it is, a menu for the salty sea dog, written by none other than the lovely Gurak. Food is great, isn't it? It warms the heart, nourishes the soul. Never underestimate the power of food, and let the lifeblood of the people be the lifeblood of the world. Food is great for connections of any kind, so let your party enjoy it. Bon appetit!